There. So welcome, everybody. This is a special board meeting of the Needham Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. This is what we don't want to be doing now, okay? So let's just live without it here, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I'll start over again. So this is a special board meeting of the Needham Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. And I'm going to call the roll of commissioners first. Reg Foster is here.
Jim Flanagan's here.
Ed Scheidler's here.
Penny Kirk is here.
Janice Bennett is here.
Super. And I just want to say at the beginning that this is a hybrid meeting via Zoom. So we have people in the room as well as online here as allowed by Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022 that was signed into law by Governor Healy and allows us to meet on this basis at least through March 31st, 2025, and we'll see what happens after that. And then I'd like to just introduce our other guests here. We have Teresa Santalucia, who is with the firm of Klein Hornig and is our special counsel for development projects. We have Erica Schechter, who worked for Peregrine Consulting LLC and is our Chapter 30B process consultant and ran the process that we've been through to evaluate the proposals. Looking around, we have some guests who are actually on the proposal evaluation committee. So in no particular order, just on the screen order, we have Steve Merritt, who has served before as our acting executive director and former executive director of Norwood Housing Authority and mover and shaker at Massachusetts NARO and National NARO and probably a bunch of other places I don't know about. Paul McPartlin, these are all Needham residents, amazingly, who is recently retired from DHCD, now known as the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, and was a member of the selection committee. And who else have I missed here?
Ellen here.
Rhonda Spector. So Rhonda is Director of Real Estate and something else at Rogerson Community, so she knows this whole area well. Thank you, Rhonda. And in the room, we have Helen Yaragosian, who's a resident of Linden Chambers and former president of the L2O. And have I missed anybody? Let's see.
Erica Schechter.
I think I got Erica Schechter. And I don't see Oscar online here. So maybe a couple of the members of the selection committee could not, or the evaluation committee couldn't make it tonight. So we have two very different things on the agenda tonight. We have, and tonight, this afternoon, we have a start to first one's to review and discuss the recently released final draft of the report from the proposal evaluation committee. And then if the board sees fit, the selection and approval of a development partner for the Linden Street redevelopment property. And then from the future, we go to the past in our 1950s circa bungalows have been getting roofs and those have been going well, but Cheryl has a bunch of change orders and other things to go through. So we're going to start off with the Linden Street redevelopment developer partner proposal evaluation committee. And let me ask first Jim and then Cheryl and then Erica, if you could just sort of describe what's happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks for the record here.
Thanks, Reg. I'll start off and be brief. Starting with some much deserved thanks. Thanks to the proposal evaluation committee for the volunteer hours, collectively 100 plus, spent reviewing and deliberating on the proposals. Just for a sense of prop and theater. This is just one of the three proposals to give folks a sense of what that entailed. Those members are, I'll repeat the names again, Cheryl Gosman, Helen Garagosian, Steve Merritt, Rhonda Spector, Oscar Mertz, and Paul McPartlin, along with myself. So thank you so much to everyone for that effort. Your expertise and insights were invaluable, and personally, it was like a master class for me. And thanks to Erica Schechter from Peregrine for herding us cats and professionally managing through a tight timeline. You helped us to follow Chapter 30B procurement procedures to ensure open and fair competition. And thanks to the subject matter expert input from folks like Bev Gallo, Teresa Santalucia, and Jonathan Driscoll. Finally, thanks to all the RFP respondents. That's Two Life, Penrose, and AHC Peabody. I know from experience that good proposals take time, and each one was well thought out and informative despite the tight timeline over the summer. All of the proposals were very, very good, but we had to decide on which was best for the current and future Linden residents and for the NHA overall. That is why the committee recommends AHSC Peabody Developer LLC as the development partner for the Linden Street redevelopment project. In brief, the proposal put the NHA in the best position to build on the incredible town support and community and our momentum toward a one-stop funding application this fall. Initial construction as early as soon as early 2026, occupancy as soon as early 2027. Clearly, none of these dates is guaranteed, but fortune favors the bold, as has been proven so far. So we are excited for the potential of sustaining our momentum in partnership with AHSC Peabody. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Jim. And I certainly echo everything that you just said. We will not repeat it, but we'll add to that I am thrilled about our recommendation as we're presenting it this afternoon. I think that Peabody AHSC will be a great partner. They understand our vision. They have our residents' best interest at heart. I'm excited about our future going forward with them. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this process. It means a great deal to us, and it helped us to determine the best candidate for this process. So thank you, everyone.
And I'd like to go to you, Erica, next. If you have anything to comment about the process, the last 3 or 4 weeks, you've done several of these procurement processes. I know that. I learned that when we first hired Peregrine, and so you have a broader perspective in procurement processes focused on getting a developer partner. So Erica, go ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Chairman. So I did want to commend again this group and the evaluation committee, especially during the end of the summer, in order to make sure that we met this tight timeline. Summer schedules are never easy, especially the last week in August for sure. And really today's presentation and recommendation is a culmination of the Needham Housing Authority and this board's efforts to redevelop Linden Street. I don't think it's a tremendous amount of credit needs to go to this group for this significant amount of time and resources through community engagement, design, entitlements, and funding, and so forth. That brought us to where we are today. I will say from my experience working with different municipalities and public entities, I've never been brought on to a project that has been so thoroughly thought through during the RFP process. So really it's a testament to this group and all the work that's put in to date. As Jim had mentioned, just overall with the process, the Housing Authority released the RFP on June 24th. We did hold one site visit for developers to walk the property. They were not able to access the interior of the building, but really to see kind of the exterior and get a sense of the scale of the development. Proposals were due August 7th. And as mentioned, 3 proposals were submitted. So we received 2 Life Development, AHSC, and Penrose. And the evaluation committee that was made up of the Needham residents, really subject matters in their own way. We had an architect, we had the former state officials, we had residents. So there was a lot of expertise within this committee, in addition to the support from Klein Hornig, Driscoll and Driscoll, and Paragon Urban Initiative to help review all the applications. But ultimately, I think where the committee landed after going through an extensive review of all the proposals, interviewing the proposals as well, is that the AHSC Peabody is the final recommendation and the right choice based on the committee's decision.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Erica. I appreciate that. I'm going to, in a moment, go to Teresa Santalucia, who has seen many, many deals. And we're very glad that you came on board. It's been more than a year. I can't even imagine how long it's been here. And then after that, I'm going to just go around the table, virtual table here to the individual selection committee members and see if they have anything they wish to add. But first to you, Teresa. You've seen quite a few of these deals getting baked. Can you help us out with just your greater perspective on what we're getting ourselves into and our selection?
Sure. So it's been wonderful to work with all of you. I'm just going to reiterate what I said at the last time I spoke with the selection committee, is that the Needham Housing Authority has done an amazing job getting the project to where it is now. You are far ahead of most housing authorities at this point. I think that the process that you just went through, I don't think it's a secret. I was advocating for a procurement process. I'm really pleased with all 3 of the respondents. I'm pleased that you had respondents, but would have not gone as well if you hadn't. But I'm pleased with all 3 of they are all heavy hitters. They are all really good, solid developers, and they all saw incredible worth in your project. And so I think it was no easy task for this selection committee to have to go through those proposals and to kind of find the right fit. From what I heard and the brief time I spent with the selection committee, I think they were asking the right questions of both myself and Bev. I think that they had a thoughtful approach to it. So, while I don't comment on the selection itself, I think the process was incredibly well run, and congratulations to get this far.
Super, great. I'm going to turn now to the selection committee. And again, I want to just echo what Jim said. I actually, I read the report that the board received, that it just brought into focus the tremendous amount of work that was done over 5 meetings. And you added it up to 100 hours. So my guess is with those big fat proposals, maybe a little bit longer than that if you counted the homework part of it. So I'm very grateful to you all. I'm also mindful that the final draft, and the reason why it says final draft of the report, given our very compressed and tight time frame, was just available yesterday evening. And I realized that the members of the selection committee haven't had a lot of time to look at the final draft, and there may be things that they want to include in the final draft or correct in the final draft or add to the final draft. So if there are such things, I would invite you to bring them out now, just allude to them at least verbally, but also turn in those corrections. I actually even saw some typos, you know, that could need to be fixed too. So Penny, you have a role here to help us out with the typos and then we'll publish it as the final committee report that reflects the review of the entire committee here. Is there any member of the committee that wants to go first, or shall I just call on people? Paul, do you want to, Paul McPartland, formerly of DHCD for 37 years, recently retired lifer, longtime resident of Needham. First time he's ever helped the Needham Housing Authority because it would have been a conflict of interest before now. Very grateful for you to come out of retirement briefly to help us out. Any comments that you have?
No, I think the Housing Authority, you know, as everybody has said, I mean, it's remarkable how far advanced this project was in all the resources you had already gathered together. And that, I think, brought three great developers to the table. I think any one of them would have been great. Obviously, there's differences of approach that maybe worked better than with some than the others. But I quickly reviewed the final report. It looked okay to me. I don't have anything to add to that. And congratulations on all the work you guys have done. It's just really incredible.
Super, I appreciate that, Paul. Steve Merritt, I'm going to pick on you next, if that's all right.
Thought you might. I can get this clicking here. There we go. I had no problem with the report. I think it fairly reflects our deliberations and our conclusion. In the end, there were three great contractors. I know I throw out a caution at the end. And this is, while you may award today, it's the beginning of a negotiation period, and that there be safeguards put in there to protect the housing authority on getting the work done at the price that is quoted, so we don't jump into inflating the price. That was my concern there. But otherwise, there was no wrong answer here. Any of these three could do this work, particularly two that we interviewed. And it's been a lot of work. It's been a long time, Mr. Chairman, and a lot of time put into it. So good work.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Rhonda, I'm looking at you. I'm going to do all the virtual people first here. So you're up.
Well, everything everyone else said, it is a testament to how much work was done by the Housing Authority that we got three such amazing proposals that we were, given the opportunity to review. It was a bounty of riches to be able to choose between these three. And again, there was no really bad choice, which is pretty wonderful. And I think that we've really picked a great potential partner that we are recommending to the board. I think that they will bring a huge amount of experience and a lot of really good work in managing. Not only will they be able to develop the property and create a new housing for us, but that they'll also take really good care of the residents once it's built. And I know that was important. It's important to all of us. You don't want to just build it and have it not be the best. So very exciting. And I really enjoyed working with everyone to get to this recommendation for the board.
You're right. And for those people, which is many, myself, started off as myself a year or two ago, who don't know what you've been doing in your day job, for the last decade or two, can you just outline what that is, just so they understand the perspective you come from in terms of your comments you just made about not just getting the bricks and mortar built, but then also what comes after?
Yeah, no, I've been working for the last 8 or 10 years. I've lost count on the number of years. I moved into senior affordable housing development and worked with Two Life and now with Rogerson Communities, and all of it is, not all of it, but most of it is affordable housing. And there are lots of people out there that do this work, but some people do it more incredibly than others. And I think Peabody is among those that that does a great job and will really serve the residents of Needham really well. So from my perspective and my experience, I think we've done incredibly well assuming that you accept our recommendation that this team will do a fantastic job for us.
Super. All right, I think that's it for everybody online, unless I missed somebody. So Oscar, I'm gonna go to Helen for the final word as our resident member of the board, but Oscar as an architect, we all know Oscar Mertz because of his leadership the last few years, first on the Hone Committee to get the Housing Needham report pulled together, and then lately this minor little other thing that's going on, which is to help Needham digest and figure out what to do about the MBTA Communities Act, which is on town meeting docket as a very important, incredibly important thing next month. But thank you for coming and joining us briefly for giving us 100 hours to also address this part of the housing crisis in Needham. Any comments?
Yes, thank you. I will correct one thing you said. You
What?
mentioned that I was on the Hone Committee. I was not on the Hone Committee. I was on the Housing Plan Working Group.
Oh, I thought you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
And that was that
Yeah,
generated
I
the
meant to
housing
say that,
plan.
right.
I know that's what you
Yeah.
meant, but I know people might hear
Yeah.
Hone, and that was a committee that followed that. And we've worked closely with that. Thank you, Reg, for your leadership on this project and for working with this committee. It's been great experience and appreciate that effort. I think as an architect, I'm very excited about the opportunity here to serve this community. And I think Peabody brings some great capabilities. And so I think we're very excited about recommending them, although there were very good choices. And I think as an architect, I'm also very excited about getting this thing built. And helping that process as much as I can and in any way that I can to contribute to the design effort. It is a schematic design where we stand, so there's room to grow and improve and refine, which I think is what's the fun part. And I think that will be a great process. I would love to be contribute to that effort as well. And let's get the agreements in order after you've made your decisions and then let's move forward. And I know we all know the timeline is tight. So I think we're all excited for this project and then all of the other projects that are in your big picture on this for this Needham housing.
Thank you. And I think one of the things all of us are grateful is all three developers proposed constructive changes to the design. We invited that as part of the RFP process. So it's good to have that perspective and insight, and we'll be working with that in the months to come here. Helen, I think you're cleanup hitter here.
I'd like to say ditto on all the thank yous to everyone. I enjoyed this learning process and would look forward to continuing learning. Three things I wanted to touch on. I was happy about the ROFR, the right of refusal, the way they lined that up, Peabody. That was one of my big things that I wanted to make sure was a good deal. And also I'm happy that the passive builders, the energy efficient builders, and have the FIAS US certification. And also one of my big things was on the part that it says management team. They were open to, as I recall, a sub-agreement so that we could possibly, if there's any way, to keep our staff of maintenance folks and our wonderful resident coordinator, who we all know she does a terrific job here. And if there's any way to save these guys jobs, because our residents are used to them and their personalities and they feel safe with them. So if there's ever any way to have them continue their working journey through a housing community, I and many others would be very grateful for that. But other than that, I'm seeing everything ducks lining up and very happy with the decision everyone made and all the input that everyone's given. Jim's leadership's been wonderful, and he was kind enough to help me on a few occasions, so, and Reg and everyone. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Helen. And by the way, I think that's an example, what you just brought up about the sub-management agreement. And you sent me an email out to everybody this morning saying, I don't see that we, mentioned that in the report. And the challenge is to take all that work and distill it down to something that's 5 or 6 pages, is readable. But just for the record, I sent you an email just before I came over, if you didn't get it, saying, yeah, it's in the fine print in Exhibit D, item 16, where it notes that AHSC Peabody had the most advantageous proposal with respect to that particular element. So we can certainly promote that up to the main body of the text, if you would like. And I know this is an issue that's very important to Greg and the board in keeping our great staff together and making sure they can continue to support the mission here. So good. All right. So I want to just turn to board members who haven't been directly involved, like Jim, and that's Ed Scheidler, Penny Kirk, and Janice Bennett. Any questions comments, concerns from any of the 3 of you?
No.
Go ahead, Penny.
A couple of things. I just need to clarify, what is a ground lease?
So when we go forward with this deal over the next 20 years, we'll be getting third-party money to actually build the bricks and mortar, the buildings. But we will continue to own the land on which everything is built. And it'll be, you might have heard of the term leasehold improvement. It's sort of a very loose way of referring to, we're basically going to be, engaging the developer partner to put together a deal that will build a 136 apartment unit leasehold improvement on land that will continue to be owned by NHA, the 11 acres that are here. And so one of the elements of the deal is financially, the developer partner, whoever that is, all 3 of them pose different forms of this, will basically lease the ground from us so that they can have the right to build on it and operate the apartment building for the next 15 or 20 years. So that's what it means.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to iterate what Helen said about the staff maintaining the wonderful staff that is already in place. I wasn't really clear when I read the whole proposal how much control will be in the hands of the developer.
Yep. And this is why this is a very, very important decision for us. Exactly. Ed, you didn't have any comments or questions. How about you, Janice?
Yeah, well, could have used a cheat sheet for all those acronyms I couldn't figure out.
We can do that. We should add a a
Glossary.
table of the acronyms, a glossary. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a very well-written proposal. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. But yeah, the cheat sheet would have helped with the acronyms and give me a better understanding. And I'm so proud of all the people that helped on the outside. Did a really good job. And I would also like to add, I was sad to read the part of the proposal about possibly not having our staff, and that kind of hurts because it's taken a while to build it back up again, and it'd be sad if that goes away. So.
Well, I'm sure you haven't gotten to Exhibit D, item 16, which is like on page, it's like almost towards the end of the exhibits and you'll see that addresses, summarizes what each one of the 3 respondents proposed, and the response on the part of AHSC Peabody, it was the most advantageous to the Needham Housing Authority with respect to this concern that you share with Penny and Cheryl and all of this. So, great. I guess I guess I'm going to ask if we're ready to make approve a motion in a moment here, but I just want to also echo what everybody already said. I'm very thankful to the Proposal Evaluation Committee. A lot of hard work, very tight time frame. Not, just because we had to get this done in order to hit the funding application deadline in early November 2025. Which has become even more important because Governor Healy, thank you very much, Governor, got the Equitable Housing Bill passed in the General Court. And thank you to Denise Gerlich, who's been just an incredible supporter of this project, as well as Rebecca Rausch. I think one of the things that is, very impressive to outsiders that haven't been involved in things in the last 2 or 3 years is how much support we receive from our representatives. And we definitely would not be here without our 2 representatives in the General Court. And I also want to just say I'm very grateful to all 3 of the companies that chose to submit a proposal. We have 3 great choices. We could have worked with any one of them. I hope the other 2 aren't discouraged because, as Oscar mentioned, we have 2 or 3 more major projects, 2 or 3 or $400 million of additional redevelopment ahead if we are able to continue on this path. It's not going to be right away because our plate is full getting this done, but maybe there'll be an opportunity in the future. And I also want to thank them because the thing that was giving me sleepless nights for 2 or 3 months until August 7th when we received the proposals was going with Teresa Santa Lucia's recommendation that it was not only legally appropriate, but it's just from a business point of view a good idea to take the time to go through a fully competitive procurement process. But boy, I would wake up in the middle of the night saying, what if we didn't get any proposals? So I'm very grateful to those 3 firms for submitting these great proposals. And then finally, I just want to thank Cheryl because I've been through 6 or 7 executive directors since I've been here, and we all know how hard she works and, just keeping the trains running on time here and dealing with the crisis du jour that goes on. And she's the only person that, what should I say, is inspired enough. And somebody could submit some other terms there
Inspired.
to take something like this on, which is really going to change the lives of hundreds, maybe thousands of elderly and disabled people over the next 50 years, as our predecessors did when they built these facilities in the late 50s and early 60s. So thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Jim.
And with that, I sense the board is ready to entertain a motion, which, I will make. It's got a little 2 or 3 parts to it because it needs to authorize the next steps of the go forward. And the motion is to accept, I make the motion to accept the recommendations of the Proposal Evaluation Committee and for the Board of Commissioners to award the engagement to AHSC Peabody Developer LLC is their official entity, as the most advantageous proposal overall for the Needham Housing Authority and for the town of Needham. And to authorize a team led by our executive director, Cheryl Gosman, and supported by a subcommittee made up of the chair and the vice chair, myself and Jim Flanagan, to enter into, promptly enter into negotiations with AHSC Peabody to negotiate the final term sheet, which would sort of be a interim preliminary first step, and then the final development services agreement and other related agreements. There are a couple other smaller related agreements there. And also any changes to existing agreements that need to be made. For example, BH&A, our architect engineering firm, one of the advantageous parts of AHSC's and Peabody's proposal was they proposed to continue with the team that's been supporting us since the beginning of January 2023. And it's actually the first time they've all worked together. So they were very impressed with the work that's been done to date, and that will very much smooth the transition and ease everything going forward here. So that's an example of other existing agreements that need to be changed and adapted here. I make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I think I heard Penny, Janice, I mean, is the beat, under the wire here by a nose, over the finish line. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments or questions? Hearing none, I will call the roll. I'm going to ask you to go first.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Ed Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
And Reg Foster votes a huge aye. So thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
I think now we get to go from that future-oriented agenda item to keeping our ship from sinking until we get to fixing up High Rock Estate. So Cheryl, over to you. Can you walk us through what we're looking at here? You sent out this to the board here.
Great.
Yeah, give you the agenda back one wrong. And
Committee doesn't have to stay for this.
yes. Oh, may I say yes? The evaluation committee is welcome to listen in if you want, but certainly welcome to bail out if you want as well.
Okay, so this, everyone has the paperwork from our architect, Andrew Ferentinos, regarding the roof replacement on High Rock Estates. That job is completed. The contractor is JJS Universal. I have before you, change order 1, 2, and 3, as well as certificate of substantial completion and certificate of final completion. The first change order was to replace the roof sheds at High Rock, and you have that. We took off clearing and disposing of brush. Our staff took care of that. JJS Universal replaced the shed roofs. The second change order is for, we swapped out a couple of units that were incorrectly identified, and we just changed them around. And we needed to add more material to those roofs. So that's what you see on change order 2.1. And then change order 3 is there was some significant plywood work that needed to be done on the roofs once the demolition continued. So that's what you have in front of you. If you want to vote the change orders first, you want to vote them all at once, that would be great.
Does the board have any questions first about any one of the change orders 1, 2, and 3? I see and hear none. Does the board have any objection to voting them approve them as a group?
No.
Nope. Okay, so can I have a motion from somebody to approve change orders 1, 2, and 3.
A total.
Cost.
$39,360.50.
$39,360.59.
50 cents.
50 cents.
Mhm.
As sent to you in your board packets. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Flanagan,
Second,
second by Penny Kirk. Hearing no further comment, I will call the roll, as we always have to do when we have a virtual meeting. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Ed Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
And that is approved unanimously.
Great, and I don't know if you've had a chance to drive by the roofs, they look very, very good. It's a significant improvement.
I went over there and looked at them, Cheryl. I was
Yeah.
impressed because the ones that weren't done, it looked like there was stuff actually growing out of them.
Exactly, a whole lawn on top of the roof, so, yeah. The
Big
contractor did,
improvement.
yeah, they did a
And I
great job.
imagine the
and-
residents were just thrilled.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Janice. It is a big improvement and we're grateful for the fast track of this project. They did take 4 weeks to complete the roofs, so that was very good. Weather was very kind to us, so we were able to get a lot done in a short period of time. The next, and they actually did not submit, the contractor did not submit partial payments during the job, which sometimes contractors do, but they wanted to just be paid at once. They felt like the job was going to move quickly and they would take payment in full at the end of the job. So what you have in front of you next is the certificate of substantial completion. And that's just a formality of HUD. We need to have this form on file. And then after this vote, we'll vote the certificate of final completion. So I think you can vote them both. I think if you want to add them together, you can vote.
Why don't we do each one
Okay,
separately
that's your
in that
choice,
case?
yeah.
Yeah, I think, just to be a little cleaner about things here.
Great, thank you.
So, the first is a certificate of partial
Of
completion,
substantial completion.
Do I hear a motion to approve that, the, executive director to sign that certificate, based on her report and the materials in your board packet?
I so move.
Moved
Second,
by Treasurer Scheidler and seconded by Penny Kirk.
Janice.
Was it Janice? All right.
yes.
Okay, Janice, yes, Penny waved at me and that caught my attention here, so, good. And hearing no further discussion, I will call the roll. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Ed Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
And that is approved.
Thank you
And
so much.
Now, do I hear a motion to approve the certificate of, final completion? Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
final completion.
In the amount of $218,885.50 for the roof project at High Rock Estates.
I move.
Second,
Moved by Commissioner Kirk and seconded by Janice Bennett. Hearing no further discussion, I will call the roll. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Ed Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
And that is approved unanimously. I think we're at the end of our business for today. Thank you, everybody, again for coming, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Flanagan,
Second,
Second,
by
side,
Ms. Bennett. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Ed Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
Thank you all for making the time this afternoon.
Au revoir.
Good day.
Welcome,
See
everybody.
you in our monthly meeting in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Aye.